improv game like last week. I seem to help a little bit. This game is called T-shirt. Like every improv game, there's a song. T-shirt, T-shirt. What's on your fucking T-shirt? And then I'll do an example version. So you would give me two things that are on a T-shirt. So it's like a beach ball and a zebra, and then I have to say what the words would be underneath the picture on the T-shirt. So I'd be like, "A day at the beach in Africa." T-shirt,
T-shirt,
T-shirt. What's on your
T-shirt.
fucking
What the fuck is on your T-shirt?
T-shirt, T-shirt? What's on your fucking T-shirt? Yeah, you
It's on
basically.
your fucking T-shirt. Okay.
All right. So I'll do the song. You'll give me two things on my shirt. So here we go. T-shirt.
T-shirt, T-shirt. What's on your fucking T-shirt?
Give me two.
Uh, a yo-yo and a popsicle.
Summer dilemmas. T-shirt.
T-shirt, T-shirt. What's on your fucking
T-shirt.
T-shirt?
uh, a camel and an Egyptian pyramid.
Things I did on my summer in Egypt.
T-shirt,
T-shirt,
T-shirt. It's
T-shirt.
not your fucking
Fucking
T-shirt.
T-shirt.
There's no reason to do a second round. Hello, and welcome to Twin Killing, the podcast where two twins talk about what two twins want to talk about. I'm Jason Luna. I'm here with my twin brother Marcus Luna. How you doing, Marcus?
I'm doing well, Jason. How are you?
Fine. I'm a little tired. I blame the hot weather here in beautiful Los Angeles, California. How hot is it in San Diego?
Not as hot in LA, but it is warming up a bit.
Excellente. Uh, so not much else to talk about, I guess. Transition. So this week we're doing what we've been doing and talking about a film, and I decided to pick Inside Out 2, and my brilliant reason for picking it is because Disney Plus suggested it 2 weeks ago. So here we are. Uh, you saw the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Uh, Not much interesting to talk about in terms of like background. I mean, obviously this isn't a uh, ongoing tradition of CGI Disney animated films.
Yep.
This is Pixar, actually, right?
Yeah, it's Pixar. Disney Pixar, which Disney owns Pixar, so yeah.
Yeah, but there's like Wreck-It Ralph was a Disney movie.
Not Pixar, yeah.
Yeah, and Toy Story. So with the CGI, it gets confusing a little bit.
Yeah.
So I looked up. I don't know if you did. I looked up There's a director, three writers. One of the writers is the director. Not much of a crazy fun backstory. Two animators, and one was a live action producer. Wasn't a lot of wacky backstory, which makes sense for prestige.
Looks like Dave Holstein was a TV writer. Um,
I was kind of expecting a little juicier because like Toy Story was written by Joss Whedon, and Toy Story 3 was written by that guy who did Little Miss Sunshine, but no celebrity writers this time around. Did you notice the two cast changes between Inside Out and Inside Out 2? Same character, different actor.
yeah, Fear and Disgust were different.
I still do not know who the discussed actress is. Asian American, was in some 2000s live action movies like 21.
Liza Liza Lapira, she's been in like probably saw her on TV then. She kind of plays Ditzes, so it's kind of good casting. Um, because Disgust is a oh my God, I can't believe it. Broccoli, ew, type of
That's exactly what Mindy Kaling plays in all of her TV shows. So I don't know why she don't want to do it again. But I didn't read
yeah.
any
Who knows? And I guess Hater got too big to do Inside Out too.
Tony Hill is just low enough to take the gig. No, just kidding.
I
No,
was
no.
interested because I've been telling you that I've been watching Harley Quinn lately, and he voices Doctor Psycho
That's right. My favorite
on that.
character on that show.
he sounds. It's basically the same voice, so
It's basically Tony Hale's voice. I mean, there's a little modulation, I guess, but yeah.
he kind of plays up the Tony Hale because it doesn't sound exactly like Buster on Arrested Development or anything.
Yeah, even Buster's that affect. He's played normal Tony Hale in some movie or something, but I don't remember. But anyway,
I never watched Veep really, but he's probably pretty normal in that, even though that is a
normal
comedy.
or he kind of plays a Buster type in that too. It's kind of his niche, which makes sense because got so famous doing it on Arrested Development. Um, yeah, so I guess got most of the cast and stuff out of the way. The cast list gets very deep with like novelty, not novel,
Yeah,
like famous people in it. Like
very deep. Yeah,
most obscure one is like Pete Docter did. I think was it? Yeah,
Dad's Anger.
Frank Oz in it for 2 minutes.
And then apparently, because they play the mine cops are blue blobs, and there's the other mine cop that Wikipedia has listed is Dave Goelz, Goelz. Sorry, Dave, I don't know how to pronounce that. But they're both obviously Frank Oz is the second most famous Muppeteer ever behind Jim Henson. But apparently Dave Goelz is a Muppet guy too.
Yeah, kind of seems like a in joke, well, not in joke, but like yeah, intentional self-referentiality or whatever. Yeah,
Apparently June Squibb played Nostalgia. Uh,
yeah. The that's an interesting character because the commercial or preview or whatever made it seem like she was one of the new ones, and I guess she is. But they literally played one, I think, one or both of her lines in the preview. She was barely in the movie.
I don't remember Paula Poundstone or Bobby Moynihan or Flea's characters.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, there's a
Forget her
lot.
Paula, forget her Bobby, and Jake, respectively.
There's a lot of incidental characters in the mine space, like construction workers and stuff. So I guess,
Oh, and then yeah, and then because memories are stored in colorful marbles, basically, and
yeah,
then there's a lot of scenes where joy or a different emotion looks at one of the balls, and in that it will play the 2 second memory in within the ball. This could be different voices in that. Um, in those.
yeah. And I'm sure, like, well, I was gonna say characters at the in the real world, but most of those are girls. But
Yeah,
so not Bobby Moynihan. Uh,
we covered the cast there. Yeah.
so yeah, the I guess let's get into the story and any critical tangents that come out of that. So movie starts. I guess it's like a combination of where we left off and several years ahead, which I guess is what most Pixar movies do.
I
Like
can't I can't remember age-wise where the first one ended, but this one is literally the summer before she's about to start high school.
clearly, the big plot point was she's 13 and entering puberty. I mean, that's basically the dramatic beat
But
of the first act.
it's specifically the summer before though, because it's a summer hockey camp and uh her best friends, which lead a lot to the emotional angst. They should have made angst an emotion in the movie. I'm just saying. But that Bree and Grace, her best friends, are going to a different on the drive to the camp. Way to bring them the vibe, Bree and Grace, telling Riley that they're
Yeah.
going to a different high school.
So the only thing that really happens before that point of the plot, it's not really plot either, it's just like introduction, is that because the first movie, obviously, and as we go through this, I'm going to point out things that are almost exactly the same as the first movie, but the first movie, it's like, oh, it was joy, fear, disgust, anger, and then sadness comes along and changes everything. So the beginning of the movie is like sadness is part of the team now, everything's happy, and then the news about the high school change
Well,
for
the thing that
right.
was confusing about the beginning was that, spoiler alert for the first Inside Out, but Joy, in the first movie, Joy, she's Joy, so I can't blame her. She's 1,000% in pursuit of joy. So she deliberately tries to avoid sadness, and she kind of does this, and she learns her lessons, and the the plot's resolved in the first one when sadness and joy imbue work together to imbue both into memories.
Yes.
But then in the beginning of this movie, it's like Joy hasn't learned her lesson because she unveils her system where she takes bad memories and shoves them into a giant catapult basically and launches them to the back of the mind, end
Yeah,
quote.
but the movie sort of okay, kind of getting ahead, not ahead of the plot, but into it. There's a nuance to it because uh, so we're kind of dancing around this, but it happens that the she gets the bad news about her friends, and she's getting nervous just as the puberty alarm goes off, which unlocks the very overlapping, hard to remember all of them, anxiety gang. It was anxiety, angst, ennui, and wait, which one's
There's no angst.
so who's the girl is on the girl is ennui. The big guy is embarrassment.
Yes. Uh, there's envy voiced by Ayo Edebiri from The Bear.
Yeah, I don't get too into Hollywood goss, but as a voice actress, she just kind of sounds like a normal person. But yeah,
She played herself. Maya Hawke played herself as anxiety. Yeah, and I imagine Adele Exarchopoulos. Sorry, Adele, I butchered that last name probably, but probably played herself as ennui because I didn't watch Blue is the Warmest Color, but it's the girl from that,
well, who does anxiety?
Riley Hawk. Maya Hawke, sorry.
Oh,
I always
I don't know her in real life at all, but I feel like she had the best character from a voice acting analysis than the rest of the, for lack of a better term, antagonists or villains of the movie. They're not really either, but they are in the way of joy, I guess. So the point I was
I haven't
making,
seen much for other work, but her voice sounded like herself.
the general point I was making is that Joy sort of made an attempt to be like, oh, I worked with sadness, so I'll work with you guys, even though it's awkward. And then anxiety betrays our heroes
Yes.
by shooting them out of the station, which
That's the catapult thing that I mentioned before that Joy was using for memories.
is yet another commonality between Inside Out 1 and Inside Out 2, because uh, sadness, a different mechanism physically, but ejects Joy from the booth, and she has to make her way from the bottom to the thing. It's very similar
Yeah,
for the story.
yeah, it is.
So anyway, uh, that was I mentioned it before, but that was weird that the oh my god, what's the old lady's name? Nostalgia. She's sort of introduced with the new characters, and then she just goes away.
Yeah, she's awkwardly, it's weird. It's she's in a she's in a behind a door, and she pops out from the door, and then she does her little thing, and they tell her it's a running gag in the movie that it's too early for you or some.
From someone who read a paper in college about nostalgia in film school, it's kind of silly to be like, oh, nostalgia won't set in until you're old. People get nostalgic all the time about everything, It's just like it's just part of society and the media we consume. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they chose to make it all old people.
Yeah, I mean, Riley's literally nostalgic for her pre-pubescence in the movie. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, I mean, there's like layered real life beats, but basically they get to the hockey camp
Hmm.
and I don't know, because I mean,
Well, that's what gets Joy and them ejected is she puts this because anxiety comes in immediately and starts pushing buttons to concoct a plan, and it seems to be going well, but then Joy says, "No, we need to have more fun," and then Joy gets Riley started acting really silly in the locker room and
right.
gets yelled at by the coach badly.
Well, there was this big plot point that was weird because it was like a very vague concept, but they gave it physical reality. The sense of self, which is like maybe you could explain it better, but Joy invents this like it looks like a flux capacitor that uh, will have a baseline of good memories for Riley to always use, and they make it
No,
like a big deal that anxiety gets rid of it.
I guess Joy invented it, but it's just how it's how her. I guess I don't know if they're in the brain. Is that what they're where they are? I don't know.
It's very vague. I mean, they're in a brain-like substance, but they don't do the full computational brain.
The memories that get pushed into the pool in combination make a personality sculpture
Yeah,
that they combine to make a personality sculpture. And Joyce concocted one that she's a good person that tries to be nice to people. Um, but like we established before with the launching the negative memories out, it's she's protecting, trying to protect Riley from any negativity. Um,
yeah, which is a little contradictory to the sadness epiphany of the first movie, but yeah.
yeah, I guess yeah, I said that.
Okay, yeah. Uh, Another similarity with the movie, the sense of self becomes a orange sense of self throughout the movie as anxiety takes over, kind of like how in the first movie the machine turns blue, kind of like a set piece that you know the outside force is taking over.
Right.
Just point out similarities. That's all. All right. So she's at summer camp. Um, God, something I'm feeling off about this movie, just because I don't know the real world stuff. I guess just doesn't have the I don't know what you call it visual resonance of the brain parts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough direction for the filmmakers and the writers to go down because the stars of the show are all the emotions, but they have to they have to there has to be some advancement of the story. So if you it's literally only a 3 day camp, and they really it's really like stretched to just the beats of the whole hockey camp and the the Riley story of actually the
Right.
real world, as you said.
Yeah, because it's like there's this locker room full of girls, but the only characters that really like sort of rise to the top are the cool girl with the faux hawk weave thing. That's a purple.
Just dyed hair. It's not really a faux. It's not a faux hawk.
It's like she sells. like black hair underneath, kind of like a mohawk to me, a full hawk to me, but whatever. And then the coach, is pretty generic character, but I mean, plot device.
voiced by uh
Nicole Brown, or how do you say that?
Yvette, yeah.
So yeah, they get to camp, and I get a little muddled on the plot because it's
What are
just
you
like
muddled on? It's not a very basic camp plot.
I know, but it's like the beat by beat. It's just like over the course of the 3 days, anxiety keeps pushing it, and the little like things that are happening just sort of blend together for me. It's like the general idea is that anxiety is pushing away the best friends
Right.
and going towards the cool girl and the girl she doesn't, the older girl she doesn't know as well,
Right.
and then
Because they
eventually stealing the notebook to get the coach's secret opinion of her.
right, because of the anxiety of eh, it's fair because I think it's probably something that crossed our minds when we were in high school or whatever. You worry about not having friends and stuff. Anxiety's drive is going to a new school, and if you don't make friends immediately, you'll never have friends.
Yeah,
And and anxiety is focused on the hockey aspect of Riley and
yeah.
not Riley as a person.
Or it's sort of like not sublimating, but I like that word, so I'll say it anyway. The idea that if she gets really good at hockey, then she'll maximize her friendships with cool people down the road.
So yeah, we're almost to the end of Riley's story. So I do think the best part of the movie, and honestly, the few parts of the movie that actually made me laugh, because this is a comedy or whatever, but even Wikipedia doesn't say it's a comedy, actually. They say coming of age film.
It's like a genteel family comedy, very Disney, more Disney than like Wreck-It Ralph or something. But yeah, yeah,
Because they get in, not only do they get catapulted, but the mine cops put them in prison. I thought the whole thing with the prison was funny. The other the prison is I can't remember the term they use in the movie, but the it's like blocked out memories.
yeah.
So there's Bluefy, a Blue's Clues type dog with a talking pouch,
Oh yeah, he was funny.
and there's a Tekken type character with a sword, but
Yeah,
his special attack is just rolling at people.
yeah, that was very like I don't know, just funny. And I think it was like yeah, the most
Very,
overtly comical characters in the movie, easily. You know, like you said, kind of.
very good animation because he had an effect on him like he was 2D style. While everything around him is 3D.
Well, yeah, both those characters had a warping affect.
Yeah, I mean Bluefy and Pouchy are basically 3D Dora the Explorer, Blue's Clues, something like that. Um,
Yeah, fair.
but anyway, that was funny. And then they're able to break out with Pouchy's help, and they sneak out with the help of the video game character guy. And then, so like you said, like in the first movie, they're trying to get right back to the control center.
Yeah,
So while that's happening, there's a scene in Riley's life where they're talking about music, and they ask Riley, what music are you listening to? And she says some cheesy boy band or whatever. And
well,
then you're like, really? That's for kids. Uh, and then Riley panics and then goes and gets really sarcastic and like,
right.
oh, I meant I love them. And then while she's saying that in the emotion land or whatever you want to call it, uh, the ground starts falling apart. So this is I'm getting to something that made me laugh. It's really cheesy, but a good pun can get me chuckling. One of the mine cops around or the construction guys goes, "Oh no, it's a sarcasm," and then Disgust goes, "Sarcasm, really?" And then I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Reminds me of what's it, Turning Red. They did a lot more with the boy band in that one. That was a good runner.
That
Also,
was a much funnier movie overall.
yeah. So speaking of commonalities with the movie, you probably remember this, but in the first movie, Joy gets the help of I don't remember his real name, Mr.
Bing
Stuffy.
Bong.
Yeah, yeah. Or
I
Mr. Stuffy.
forget Bing Bong is that trying to traumatize kids for years.
I know that was so randomly sad. It seemed like it's just this like normal character, and then suddenly he has a tragic death, basically. Anyway, Bing Bong correlate to the Blues Clues and the very similar like cast off child's character has to help our heroes.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah. Hello. No one really joins the expedition outside of the core group for long. Bing Bong was in it longer than anyone in this movie in terms of the Fantastic Four, if you will, of the emotions that are on the journey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So anyways,
yeah.
I think they fall in the chasm. They go down a river. They ride a broccoli on the river to get to the back of the. They're trying to. So okay, so this is where it gets. This was a big difference. They actually split up because I actually said Fantastic Four because they split up because they decide Sadness climbs back via a tube. I can't remember how the tube thing materialized, but to go back to because in the catapult back at the that emotion sculpture thing that uh Joy May got ripped out and put in the catapult too. But that went all the way to the back of the mine opposite where they are. So they have to go back and they have to go get that and bring it back with them
Right.
so they can put it back in.
Yes.
But they send Sadness back on her own to
Yeah.
make sure the runway's clear and also to, I guess, try to get control of the board, which was dumb because she's by herself and there's
I don't think it's dumb. I'll tell you why. Because the first movie and the dialogue in this movie, they explain that Sadness is the best at directly hacking the board because of the tiny
but
blue and
how
stuff.
can she get everyone away from the board to do her hacking?
Well, in the movie, she goes for it and fails miserably. But I think
Yeah.
she's just trying something to like expedite the. Movie characters can't be wholly logical.
Well,
Uh,
I guess they were desperate. They didn't really have another choice. They couldn't really fit another person up the tube to try to go with her to help her.
in a more screenwriting sense, it made sense because she got to meet embarrassment.
They made a connection.
He's in a pod. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess embarrassment and sadness are similar, and that's why they kind of liked each other.
They're both big-bodied emotions in their for their frames.
They're both quiet, reserved. Embarrassment is so quiet and reserved he doesn't talk.
In real life, what's her face from The Office and Paul Walter Hauser could be brother and sister or mother son or whatever.
Mindy Kaling and Paul Walter Hauser are what?
No, Sadness is played by the woman from The Office.
Oh,
And
you said The Office, and I guess there's multiple people from The Office. Well, there's just her left now, I guess. But
Killing left, yeah. Uh,
so, anyways, so the four that are going back, they how do they get there's probably there's a storm for some reason. Oh, it's a brainstorm because that was kind of creative, I guess. Anxiety needs to come up with a big idea on how to score 3 goals because they established that there's a big scrimmage at the end of camp, and Val, her idol, sets a record with 2 goals in the scrimmage. So
Yeah.
Anxiety needs to score 3 goals, so they brainstorm and they cause a storm.
They
Kind of
needed a very
creative, I
like
guess.
they needed a very heavy-handed way for Anxiety to go overboard and clearly lose control of the brain, and things are gonna go.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
from the viewer's perspective, it provided an action sequence. Um,
Or briefly mention that brainstorm is another pun. You seem to like those so much. It's right there.
that did make me laugh, like because the sarcasm was more surprising.
More clever, yeah. I want to, I guess, because we're getting towards the end-ish. Another character I liked, they didn't do it as much as I thought they would, is the Deep Dark Secret. I just thought that was like clever and weird.
Yeah, there is something with that in a end credit scene, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was. I like that imagination. I kind of wish the movie had more of that sort of like abstract logic, but yeah. So, how do they eventually get in the building? There must have been some kind of big turn or something.
so that was actually the second part. I probably left the other parts too, but the deeper laughs I had. They're trying to the sculpture thing that Joy's desperately trying to get is buried within um the piles of bad memories that she catapulted back.
Right.
So they have another way to get back, but it was like another tube or something. But Anxiety catches it and blows it up or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of random, but I kind of appreciate anime movies being random. Anger says, "Oh, I have a way to fix it, and I don't like it because he's Anger, so doesn't like anything." He goes, and a callback to the being prison scenes. He goes, "Oh, Pouchy," and then I thought Bluefy would come back too, but it was just Pouchy. Pouchy comes and Dorlix, and then Pouchy, we need your help to get back to the office or whatever. And Dora the Explorer style says, "I have these items in my pouch. Could any of these help you?" And then he goes, "A golf club or what? I'm not gonna get this right, but a golf club." And then he goes, "Dynamite." And then Anger just grabs it and goes, and he does. Pouchy says dynamite, and then he goes on to other things. Then Pouchy's like, they're like, "Oh, come on, don't you have a jet or a plane or something?" And then it was surprising. I'm kind of a little surprising for a kids movie. Anger grabs Pouchy and slams him on the ground and lifts up his sleeve and slams and inserts his fist as deep as he can into Pouchy and starts pulling things out and keeps getting dynamite over and over again. And then Anger goes, "It looks like we'll need lots of dynamite then." And then I thought that was funny that again it's kind of humor can be funny because it's surprising. I didn't expect one of the emotions to reach down Pouchy's throat and start pulling items out.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. I don't remember any of that.
So
But yeah, 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 yeah.
they end up pulling much time out, and the physics of it might have made more sense if I was watching the movie live. But somehow they used all the dynamite to blow their way back with the bad memories, which becomes crucial to the ending.
Yes.
With the sculpture too, uh, into the underground part, the pool of water that the memories go to create the sculpture.
Right. So they get up to the main room, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
And I think there was intervening beat between anxiety and joy, but doesn't anxiety just kind of relent initially and want joy to fix it or whatever? No, well, there was
Well, it
the
takes,
tornado thing
yeah.
drawn
Anxiety
out.
goes crazy because so we're while this is happening in the brain or whatever, uh they're playing the big game in it's big game time in Riley, right? It's called Riley's World.
The three goal scrimmage.
And she gets the two goals relatively easily. She's playing completely reckless hockey to get there. She steals the puck from her own teammate to get the second goal. Um
And she gets a. How does she get the penalty?
yeah, so that's when while she's trying to get the third goal, not as as a somewhat of a hockey fan, that was not the best officiating by the coach to give a penalty. I don't think because basically Grace and Riley collide, and it is because Riley's being reckless. But I guess that's what that was probably why the coach put her in that penalty box, not for actually committing an actual hockey
I
penalty.
feel
Because
like for youth hockey, you have more jurisdiction for morality or whatever, or fair play or whatever. But,
if I was a hockey dad or something and a referee told me that, I'd be pissed off. Anyways,
you want to go to jail? Okay.
not punchy pissed off. Anyways, so yes, that trying to get the third goal and running into Grace got that's what got her to the penalty box.
And then I remember Riley has a panic attack, and it's caused by anxieties or
Yes,
overreaction.
because it's a theme for anxiety throughout the movie is she can't stop, and she thinks she can fix things by working harder, and she's really in a pickle because the penalty box situation could drain the rest of the time for the game, and she's it makes sense for an anxiety mindset. She's already determined that three goals is the only way to make friends,
Right.
and that's being taken away. So she's trying desperately to figure out a way. So she's moving around the board so fast, arguably faster than the speed of light, that she creates an orange tangle of cosmic speed that pushes everyone away and is creating a tornado, like a mini indoor tornado in the brain. So yeah, it goes kind of fast from there. All the emotions are there except for nostalgia. Nostalgia's behind a door waiting for her comic time to come out. And then Joy decides to. So Joy jumps through the orange melee and at first she can't grab her because it's like she's moving so fast that she's not actually there. But then she is able to grab her and then uh she pulls her out. But
Yeah.
the system's still going haywire and Riley's having a legit panic attack in uh in the penalty box in real life.
Yeah. But I think
So at first, oh, sorry.
okay. So Joy uh, sticks the sense of self in like that's gonna fix it, and it doesn't. And then maybe I'm skipping a step, but Joy realizes that what anxiety was doing, Joy's been doing this whole time, So anxiety and joy like make their own sense of self out of the bad memories. Is that the gist of it?
They kind of let the bad memories do their thing. Because I think them trying to put their own sculpture on top of it was blocking the bad memories from that. Well, not necessarily bad memories, it's all the memories together. That's kind of the point because uh, the instead of anxieties, because each of the sculptures, anxiety sculpture, they had a they had a catchphrase. That's not the right term, but whatever. Had a catchphrase along with them. Well, more like a motto because it wasn't
Hmm.
trying to sell anything. Uh, the anxiety sculpture's motto was "I'm not good enough," and joy sculpture's motto is "I'm a good person." So by letting the bad memories do their thing, it was a combination of every emotion possible. Um, so then they're watching the sculpture do its thing, and it's actually morphing between different messages like I'm smart, uh,
Just say that.
positive and negative things.
Just I guess say the whole thing again because you blipped on my end.
Where, where was?
I don't know. It's fine. Just do it live. Okay.
So anyway, so yeah, the like the first movie, letting nature run its course and combining emotions provides Riley the calm that she needs and self-confidence she needs
To me,
to not be a jerk. In the first movie, was a jerk to her parents, and in this movie, it's not to be a jerk to her best friends and everyone else.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, to me, and I don't know if this is necessarily a negative evaluation of the movie. It probably is because that's. We'll get to my overall review in a second, but I feel like the autopilot thing got really autopilot this time, where it's the end of the movie's like Joy's like, oh, she's doing something stupid, but it's fine because she's a autonomous person now. And it just made it weird that they have all these people working in the emotions when the lesson is like Riley can do it herself.
yeah, it's not really because, and I think it corresponds to real life. Anxiety, if you let anxiety run your life, I think it would kind of look like that. I mean, not exactly. I mean, it is a kids movie after all, but you'd be very panicked and worried about being good, and but at least so it's not ideal for Riley. But now with all the emotions together, like you say, as someone who kind of works in engineering, it doesn't how the board operates now and how the operator is supposed to do it. Doesn't it's not clear. Do they ever
No,
touch it now, or because
no, because it's like if this is the brain, there's a lot of complex procedures that would be required to make Riley operate, but it's not really. It just, I mean, getting the whole nature of the movie universe, but it's like it's just so ephemeral what emotions have to do at X time. It kind of seems like nothing ever, but
yeah, it's confusing how they'll work together and how they'll decide who pushes the board and when. Um,
yeah, because yeah,
but it's much more calm. So,
so that's like the ending basically, right? Because I mean,
well, the big they don't actually say at the end if she makes the hockey team, but she gets an email from the coach with the roster at the end, and she opens the email and she smiles. So I guess that means she probably made the hockey team, but it's kind of like am I blanking? What's the Christopher Nolan dream movie?
Inception.
Well, it's not as mysterious as that, but they don't outwardly say in Inception if Leonardo DiCaprio's in the dream world or not. And then They don't say the hockey team. That's probably not the best comparison because it's much bigger things at stake with Inception. But
Well, it was kind of dumb to have that thing at the end because it's like the whole point was it didn't matter if she made the team or not. So I don't know. I think you could have just left it without that, but it's fine.
she clearly rather make it still, even though she has accepted the possibility of not making it. So yeah. So overall, it's a like the first movie. I think the message about mental health and emotions is a positive one, and what's a happy ending makes sense in terms of
Yeah.
logical. Yeah, so that's basically in the movie. They flash forward to them eating dinner, and then they do the gag they did in the first movie, where they have the emotions of the parents.
Yeah, that was fun. Also fun. I don't know not quite funny, but it was chuckle worthy, I guess.
It wasn't as funny because it was expected that the mom's worried and the dad just wants to watch a hockey game or something.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, the end credit scene with the big dark secret, where the gag is, you gotta tell me what's the big dark secret? We burned the rug one time, and then Joy goes, "Oh, I thought it was when we peed in the pool." And then the big dark secret's like acts like that's much worse and jumps back into his cage in embarrassment. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, it's a post credit scene in a kids movie, so you can't expect like a MCU revelation or something. But
I
it did
was
kind of seem like a cop out for making a plot point with that. But yeah,
I was actually pleasantly surprised they had one because they haven't done one in a while for Pixar movies at all.
I guess.
There wasn't. 'Cause I was actually with a group of people in a meetup watching Onward,
Hmm.
and I convinced everyone to stay because like, oh, there's probably an end credit scene, and then there wasn't, and everyone went, oh, and, yeah, whatever.
For the MCU, there was like, I mean, I guess there were some examples, but most movies wouldn't give you an end credit scene. Okay, so I guess awkwardly transition into my critical evaluation and score of this movie. So
Okay.
I think you kind of hinted at it when you were like, "Oh, uh, other movies are funnier than this." Um, I found myself a little bored with some of the plotting of this movie. Uh, I thought, and I guess this happens a lot in sequels, but I thought it was very like low stakes to open on, like, oh, another day at the office for the four people in the brain, and I
Five, but yeah.
and then the anxiety coming in. Uh, they didn't do a good job of elevating it as different or new enough. Anxiety versus sadness. It's just like it's just very similar, and well, and yeah, I just felt like um, yeah, the plot was what it was, and um, just in general, I found myself comparing it to the first movie and being kind of and not being taking a lot away from it emotionally overall. So I was kind of disappointed by this film because I felt like it had to elevate. It had, sort of had to elevate beyond the first film, and it sort of duplicated it. And the structural element of like going from I don't even know what the change was because that's another weird thing. If sadness takes over in the first movie, that felt like puberty, and then this movie does puberty, and it just felt very uneven plot wise as a result of. all the underlying issues.
What's the problem with Pixar sequels? It's hard to remember details from the first one because there's such a lot. They wanna pump out other movies in between, which I don't blame them because you don't want to just be dependent on Inside Out or just Toy Story or whatever. But it
I,
was I'm looking at it. It was 9 years in between these two movies.
I think I remember
Long.
the plot of the first one. That's like almost the problem is that it just felt so reductively similar, and I don't know what this movie's adding. And I think they could have taken a bigger risk. Like, what if she's going to college? Just basic stuff like that. Just like new space,
Yeah,
and the human characters really fell flat because it's just archetypes of like sports films, like the coach and the cool kid who looks like Rico from Hook. That's a stretch. They both have colored hair. Uh, is it?
yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
I didn't like Hook to begin. Well, I don't want to get into Hook review.
That kid from Hook.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a hard time recommending this movie, which is kind of odd because it wasn't poorly made. I do think the casting change, those two casting changes were a big limitation for me. I think Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling would have helped just in terms of oddball comic energy, and so I don't know, like, and an obvious comparison. I'll finish with this. An obvious comparison is the Toy Story films, which say what you will about them, but they changed the arc 4 times. Those competing with a new toy, worrying about growing old, uh,
Yeah.
losing Andy, and then
Woody and Bo Peep's
yeah,
romance.
exactly. In this movie, it's the same. It's the same emotional core. Not and I just didn't feel inspired by watching it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, um, God, I think I'll give it a 5. It left me very down the middle. I was kind of bored and nonplussed by it. So I think down the middle is fair. It's technically competent, but unfulfilling for me.
My review's kind of similar. I actually prepared a little bit of research in preparation for this question. So I could give you a little trivia here. Let's make it quick, but to date, how many Pixar feature films have been released?
I will say 10.
I figure you go way under. It is a whopping 28.
Yeah. Eh, Yeah. Wow. Wow. Oh, I forgot about the Nemo Dory. There's the
Yeah,
Elements movie.
all
Blue,
the cars.
yeah, all the cars. Too many cars. Planes. Well, no, planes is Disney, I think. But
Yeah, planes doesn't count. So anyways, so in my review here, I'm gonna try to rank the movies best I can. It can't be a proper ranking because I'm surprised I'm closer to a completist than I thought I was. The only Pixar movies I haven't seen are The Good Dinosaur and Elemental, two of
Elemental,
the
Elemental was
movies
bad, and yeah, Good Dinosaur got bad reviews. But yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah. For the movies I have seen, I did manage to watch all three of the Cars movies, and those happen to be the only movies I can say with certainty are obviously worse than Inside Out 2. And I think Inside Out 1 is kind of hurt by Inside Out 2 because, like you say, it's a similar story.
I think it's
It felt
inverse, where I appreciate the first movie more.
right.
It was first, but yeah,
I guess that's how you should review movies, is how you feel when you watch it the first time, and not because then you could go down a rabbit hole of like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs has shitty animation. It's like 1937 or whatever. Of course, its animation's not as good.
yeah.
That type of thing. But anyways, to Pixar's credit, being the at worst 25th of 28th best in a studio's history sounds terrible. I think it's a pretty quality film. Uh, what number did you give it?
I gave it a polite five. For my personal enjoyment, I would honestly give it lower, but at the same time, it's meant for kids, and it's 9 years after the first film, so I can give it some latitude. But personally, I give it like a two or three, but five is my official score.
I'm gonna go higher than five. I'll say about a seven because despite its comedic flaws or lack thereof, which is why I rank it 25th because uh, they're not all perfect movies. Luca and Soul, for instance, have their problems, but they're funnier. Um, but I think, like the first Inside Out, it's a well-crafted coming of age story. And I think I give it credit for being a positive movie um, for kids to watch, and hopefully it can have the positive message within could be helpful for the mental development of children and adults alike. Um,
Yeah,
I give it credit for that. That's why I give it a seven, which I think is a good score.
yeah. I mean, it's a positive score. I mean, it's like a Rotten
But
Tomatoes, it's barely fresh or whatever.
I would highly recommend it for kids, and then adults, I would warn them it's very similar to the first Inside Out.
Yeah. So the only thing I wanted to add to my review was it reminded me a lot of if there was an Inside Out TV show.
There's
There's a
yeah,
there's a framework and like a challenge, but that goes doesn't stay with you afterwards. It reminded
mhm.
me a lot of a TV drama about the Riley's life or whatever. But yeah.
There is one. It's about the dream. Uh, I think they didn't touch upon it in this movie, but in the first one, there's a there's a dreamland or something, or dream studio or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's hard to keep up with all those Pixar TV shows now on Disney Plus. There's just a lot of them. I'm sure they're good and all, but yeah. Yeah.
I almost said there's two TV shows, but the one I thought was the other one is an original story, original, not related to any films, Pixar TV show called something about victory or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm probably way off. But anyways, so yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
wrap this up then, Jason.
yeah. That was this one. Well, Inside Out 2. Uh, and I guess Marcus gets to pick the movie next week. Do you have any idea what you're gonna pick?
I'll let the our millions of listeners know that for a good number of several years ago, before I started being fully gainfully employed and not watching as much sports, I was plugging away at the thousand one films you must see before you die, and its updates, so it's over 1,001 films. I got a long way to go. I'll look through that list, uh, and maybe pick something. Um, yeah, goes from the silent era to today, basically, um, or something else. Uh, there's other movies outside the list like that I'll pick something I want to see.
Uh,
I'm less likely to do what you do, kind of where you search for camp or let camp find you and then suffer through it together, like we did with Sex and the Other Man
I mean,
last episode.
I only do that for Tubi. For like Disney Plus, I just do what they recommend.
So we'll see. I'll do some research tonight and tomorrow and I'll try to pick something by then so you have plenty of time to watch it.
Okay. On that scintillating note, we'll see you next week on Twin Killing. You have any parting thoughts, Marcus?
I hope my Dodgers sweep your Mets this weekend.
No way, bro. I don't know. Yeah, they
I
probably
guess
won't.
for both. That's not entirely true because you like the Dodgers too, but.
Yep. See you then. Bye.